Good morning again, and welcome back to the proceedings of day one of the 5th edition of CJEN Networking Conference. At this part of the day, we have a plenary session, and you can already see the session title on the screen, Unpopularity of Media and Journalism Education in Bangladesh. In this session, we'll have a keynote speech by Professor Jude Henilo, the head of Media Studies and Journalism Department, University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. And also we'll have a presentation, research findings from Dr. Abdul Kabil Khan from the University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. She is an assistant professor in the Department of Media Studies and Journalism. He will present the findings of the study, feedback from our students, what I wish my faculty would do and would not do. So moving on to the keynote, you all know Professor Jude Henilo. I think I do not need to introduce him anymore, but still let me tell you again that Professor Jude Henilo is a Filipino national living in Bangladesh for, I think, over 12 years now. He achieved his PhD degree in communication from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Afterwards, he worked as a postdoctoral researcher in Thailand. He taught in Indonesia in the London School of Public Relations and Communication Management. And then he came to Bangladesh and took the lead of the Media Studies and Journalism Department, University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. Under his leadership, the department has grown significantly in last 12 years. The department has not only earned recognitions at national level, it has gone global. The most recent recognition of the department is to be accredited by the Global Alliance of Public Relations and Communication Management. Under Dr. Jude's leadership, the department has passed successfully the external peer review that was required by University Grants Commission, wherein the external panels, our international body of panels, made a remark that the department is now ready to be a player in the regional level. Dr. Jude, for his contributions in education, has received CMO Asia's Education Leadership Award in 2014, and he has been the ambassador, Bangladesh ambassador for International Association of Media and Communication Research, IIMCR. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the floor to Professor Jude for his keynote. Professor Jude.
Good morning to everyone. So the title of my presentation is The Unpopularity of Media and Journalism Education in Bangladesh, which is part of two presentations that will be done today in this session, because this session is entitled, What is Wrong with Journalism Education in Bangladesh? Okay, so the outline will be like this. First, a word of caution, student enrollment, employability prospects, classroom or newsroom, research output, and learning from engineering school. And then we'll have session takeaways. Okay, word of caution. Usually, when we have conferences, we like to listen to comforting things that we know are safe, things that, are okay topics. Seldom do we want to listen to truths. And because truths are unpleasant. Lies are very comforting. We can pretend that everything is well and good. And that's why, if you take a look at the number of people who would prefer comforting lies rather than unpleasant truths, you would see that more people will go for comforting lies. And actually, that's why I place this as the first part of my presentation, because it's a word of caution. Maybe in the end, it's not the unpopularity of media and journalism education. It's the unpopularity of Jude Henilo that will happen after the session. So hopefully it will not be that way. So let's proceed. What are we talking about? Let's look at student enrollment, and this is the one that's given by University Grants Commission. University Grants Commission collects all this data from different universities regarding their enrollment, but they publish this 2 years later. Okay, so the 2018, they published it to 2020. Fortunately, they did it during the before the pandemic, because during the pandemic, they did not publish anything anymore. So this is the latest thing that we got. But I'm trying to show here, some selected schools in Bangladesh and what is the student enrollment. And we could see that engineering's top, okay, in 2018. And then business school is also very high. Arts and humanities, a lot lower than that. And then School of Social Science, where we belong. And it is very small, okay, compared to the other schools. And if you do some computation, you would find out that the School of Social Science, and we're only a part of it, 23% of the student number in the School of Arts and Humanities. Only 8.2% of the student number in the School of Business, and 6.0% of the student number in the School of Engineering. So these are facts presented to us by University Grants Commission. And you would say that maybe it is this way all over the world. But looking at data from the United States, we would see that communication is not even lumped up with social science. It is a separate category because in the US, in other countries, even in the Philippines, communication is very popular. And that's why me here in Bangladesh, have always been thinking, why is it this way? So in the US, communication and journalism programs are even larger than engineering, English language, and arts and humanities. It's separated from social science. And 23.3% of the student number of business programs. So compared to Bangladesh, only 8.2. But in US, 23.3. Of course, business is still more popular in the United States, but it's not as bad as what we have here in Bangladesh. And taking, then this comes to mind, why? Or why is this happening? And many of the literature that I reviewed point out to this. It's the job opportunities. Basically, it's job opportunities. Study by graduate employability has been recognized by various stakeholders, governments, accreditation bodies, parents, and students, as one of the key objectives of university education. Okay? It's job opportunities. Kabir, parents perceive that market-related degrees are key to economic survival. And that's why parents, why will they spend money bringing their kid to a university if there is no return on the investment and they will not survive economically? Okay? Even if it's a public university, the investment there is the time. It is still substantial. Parents and students believe that job-related courses would result in quick employment with a higher salary. Parents and students see higher education as a means to get a diploma, which is a gate pass for a job, and not as a way to acquire knowledge and skills. And this is from the British Council. And if you from the public universities are saying it doesn't affect us, no, there is a study here looking at the factors for career, like what influences a public university student in choosing their program. And it shows here that financial benefits, prestige of the profession, security of job are very important factors. So if they will apply for a program in a public university, it's still finances that will dictate it. Okay? So they will say, okay, I will really apply to the business school. And, journalism is like third choice. Okay? And that is what will happen if they don't perceive us providing job opportunities. Okay. If we look at the Bangladesh Accreditation Council, graduate employability must be addressed in self-assessment reports of programs of study. So if we want to be accredited by Bangladesh Accreditation Council, we must address the issue of graduate employability. What are we doing about it? And there are several aspects of graduate employability. Okay, technical skills, leadership, communication skill, teamwork. So how are we addressing this as a program to enable our graduates to be employable? Okay. Now, the strategy given by many private universities is that they follow the American system. And why is this? Because the American system really has this inbuilt, that the students or the graduates will be landing lucrative job placements. So private universities have an eye on this, okay? And that's the reason why private universities became successful in attracting students, okay? If this was not there, I don't think, many people will come to the private universities. So let's go. Of course, we know her, one of our very popular professors in our field, Dr. CJEN Kaberi. Okay, let's look at the employability prospects of our students when they graduate. Okay, she wrote an opinion piece at the Daily Star, and she entitled it "Uncertain Future of Journalism in Bangladesh." And I will just quote a sentence or two sentences that she has here. "We do not know the exact numbers, but there have recently been employee cuts in established newspaper houses. Online and social media content are attracting increasingly more ads." Okay, so she's saying, the prospects are not bright. Another, a book. Settles and Ahmed wrote this for MRDI, and the book was entitled "Leadership or Stagnation: The Future of Media Viability in Bangladesh." And what they're saying is that, journalism, quality journalism is at a crossroads. Why? Because of digital transition, decreasing advertising revenue, decreasing trust in the media, and many government regulations that are not supportive of the media. And that's why, given this environment, again, employability prospects look dim for our graduates in the sector. Okay, next. This was a study done by Hassan and Wadud. And they asked the question to 139 respondents. And they asked the question, Bangladeshi-owned media outlets are credible and provide you objective news? And you would see that 71% of respondents disagree. They do not think the media is credible. So if media is not found to be credible, they will be losing readership. If they lose readership, they lose advertising income. If they lose advertising income, they will be hiring the cheapest of the cheapest. And I was talking to one of you a while ago, and that was basically the issue that he was telling me. They're hiring the cheapest of the cheapest. Okay. So, looking further at employability prospects. So this was a study that we did for DW Academy. Esther helped us a lot in this study. And we posed a question to university students, 327 of them. And we asked them, do you think that the prospects are bright regarding journalism career? And you would see that a lot of them say it's fair to poor. So even our students who are graduating are saying they don't really see the prospects as being bright. Okay, and that's our students ourselves. And one saying that there is no pattern or standard regarding salaries of journalists and media houses. Only a handful of media houses provide good and regular salaries. Most of them do not. So you see these problems happening in the media sector. Why? Well, how can they afford it now? They're losing their revenue. And so it transforms. Okay, I will hire you. I had a student once, and he said, I will not go to media sector. Why? Because the salary is so cheap. Okay, so he did not pursue. Okay. Now, on top of this problem of graduate employability prospects, we have this problem of the debate, classroom or newsroom. Okay. So I followed the writings of our professor from Chittagong University, Ula, and he talks about this very well. The practitioners are saying journalists would be best, would receive the best schooling in the editorial offices, not in journalism departments. The faculty, on the other hand, Ula says, the lack of well-rounded education is one of the primary reasons for the proliferation of ill-trained and irresponsible media practitioners. So you see, we are not seeing eye to eye with people in industry. Okay, and that's why when UNESCO did a report about journalism curriculum, they would say there is really, no standard in journalism program syllabi. But the second one is the one I want to emphasize. The syllabi emphasize theory at the expense of practice. So that is the curriculum that they saw in 2009. Hopefully it has changed now. But at that time, of course, the practitioners would say, it's theory. You're not teaching practice. So why will I hire? Okay, so there's the debate. So a few private universities have taken a pro-industry approach to education. And that's why, remember again, the private education, knowing the importance of graduate employability, so they have changed the curriculum to fit this. Okay? So there are really measurements now of graduate employability because that is what we do. Okay. Again, from the study we did in DW Academy, what is it showing? We interviewed several news organizations and outlets. And what did they tell us? They say, okay, if you look at our staff, only 50% would come from journalism schools. Okay? The other 50% will come from English and language students, Bangla language students, business students, international relations students. Okay, so, well, at least it's not all that, but they fire 50% of their staff are students. But it's not 100, okay? It's not 100. And if you take a look at the typical advertising post by a media house, you would see that, yes, they will put, we're looking, and the qualification should be journalism or media graduates, but they also include other related disciplines. So the other related disciplines make up the other 50%, and we get 50%. So what's this? Media houses are losing money, losing in revenue, but still not hiring, So what is happening here? And it affects, all of us. And the only way to end this debate, because the industry is the one is also undermining us. So like if you're a student and you want journalism as a passion, you would be saying, okay, then where will I study to have the good credentials to be a journalist? Should I go to university? And if they happen to talk to somebody from industry, they would say, you only have a 50% chance that we will hire you. So that is the problem. And the only way to end this debate is for industry or for our graduates to contribute significantly to the growth and development of the media sector. Because if they see that our graduates are very useful to them, then they would say, yes, it's the classroom and not the newsroom. But up to now, it's still newsroom, 50% wise. Okay, so it's still classroom or newsroom. So that's, the problem we have, why we are unpopular. Now let's look at research output. Okay, so let's look at the indexes. Okay, this is the Shimago index. Okay, and they're looking at the number of documents from 1996 to 2020. They index per subject area. And you would see social science is quite low, okay, compared to engineering and social science and computer science. Okay, so 5,000, but they get 16,000. And then, if we take a look at communication within the social sciences, you would see that we're ranked number 16 among the social science fields. And of course, geography, planning, development is number 1 with 1,500, but we're number 16, 132. That's our output. 132. Don't you feel there's something wrong with this? Well, why is this the output of our sector? Okay. We look at another research, indexing, trying to show the top scientists in Bangladesh. Okay, so this is the Bangladesh Scientists and University for Social Science. So if we take a look at it, these are the top ranked 35. And we would see that the top social scientists of Bangladesh, only 2 out of the 35 come from our field. And I would like to mention them. One is Momtaj Parveen from IUB. She ranked 22. And then we know him very well, Shanister Kabir from Jagannath University. This one is 24. Sorry, I wrote 22. So one is 22, Momtaj, and Shanister Kabir ranked 24. Nobody else was ranked among us. Okay, so that is what is there. Now, I'm trying to go back. One explanation given was the one given by our professor, Shafiul Alambuya, and of course we know him from Dhaka University. And this is what he said during the 4th networking conference of CJEN. So I was listening and I was taking notes. And I liked what he said, that's why I made a screenshot of it. So there he is talking, and you'll see he's frowning, he's not happy in doing his presentation. And he was saying that this is happening to our sector because we do not have an environment for research. There is no enabling environment for research. And he said, one of the problems is because of the lack of networking. Because we do not network with each other. We do not talk to each other. We do not share our strengths together. And we just do it, individually. And, the mentoring process is not there. And, I'm really sorry. Sometimes when I attend conferences and I see junior faculty of our discipline, okay, they did not have mentoring. They were, they did it because they just wanted to grow, and that's why on their own they tried to present a paper. And then they present a paper in the conference, and then what happens is that the senior faculty bash them, humiliate them in front of everybody. And like for me, I'm traumatized. Like, why do we do this to our junior faculty? Why do we have to humiliate them in front of everybody? We should have a good mentoring process in a way that does not put them, in a bad light. Because they are learning, we know. So we have to mentor them in a proper way, not show to the world that they're so bad. Okay, so I agree with Professor Shafiu Lalambuya. We have to deal with this. Okay, it cannot be this way. And what happens to our junior faculty then? Without the mentorship, they want to be promoted. They will be humiliated. They know when they, a conference is supposedly, you present a paper, people give constructive comments on how to improve it. They take notes so that they can make proper revisions so that it will be acceptable for publication. But what happens is they go to the conference, the senior faculty bash them, they did not get any constructive input, then why will they publish how to get the promotion? And so, we know this. Resorting to plagiarism among people in our ranks. And what does that do to our reputation as journalism educators? It destroys it further. And that's why we, as a sector, we need to get our acts together. Because it could not be this way, wherein they're not mentored, they get bashed, they need promotion, resorting to plagiarism. It has to change all these things. Okay, now, engineering. We can learn a lot from the engineering discipline, the engineering school. And if you notice, in the UGC data, they are number 1. So they must be doing something very right. Okay? So if you take a look at engineering school and how they function, you could see that they have an ecology. Okay? There is strong academe-industry linkage. So what is this ecology of engineering education that we find there? First, we find the academic institutions. So I showed here Buet, of course, Asanula University, Kuwait, okay, very renowned engineering schools. So we have that. Then they have a professional body, the IEB, Institute of Engineers of Bangladesh. And then they have a student association. All students of engineering come together. So they have that. So the students, the industry, the academic institutions, they network. They go together. They see eye to eye. They negotiate. And they have an accreditation body, which they call BAET. Okay? And the accreditation body certifies the quality of a program of study. Okay? And accreditation is not simply they just come here, look at our documents. No. What the engineering discipline does is that there are so many trainings on the faculty how to meet the standards that they put in the accreditation body. So it's like they have been trained and trained and trained. So like me, I'm an IQAC director, okay, for ULAB. So I wear that hat. And when it comes to engineering, I don't find many problems because they have already been trained in all of these things. So they know. Because of this, because of BAET. Okay. Now, The engineering discipline is also linked internationally, following international standards. They call it the Washington Accord. Okay? It's an international engineering alliance. And what's the benefit of this? Well, the main benefit is that the standards internationally are being applied locally. And that's why a graduate of an engineering school, like Kuwait, Buet, they are recognized as having international standards. And that's why they can be employed even outside the country, because it is recognized. So they have this advantage. Okay. So when we talk about employability, we can see that engineering school hit the nail on its head. There is a lot of graduate employability. The statistics show this. The statistics come from the Asian Development Bank. They did a tracer study of engineering graduates, and they found out that they are having good salaries. They are, hired within 3 months of graduation. And of course, this is music to ears of prospective students. Because remember, employability is one of the main reasons that they go to a university. And, what are the reasons for entering engineering school? Well, of course, number one is they're interested. But number two is employment opportunities in the sector. They may not be interested in engineering, but because of the employment opportunities, they go there. Okay, they go there. Look at the job placement for graduating year 2018. Oh, this is on 2018, but you see, 2015, 86% got placed. 2016, 74%. So it's going down, but you could see it's still 70%. It's still very high. Okay, and this is Asian Development Bank data. Okay. So, just to wrap up. In terms of enrollment, media studies and journalism is unpopular in Bangladesh. Parents and students consider employability in selecting what program of study to choose, public or private. It's the same. But the country's media sector is experiencing extreme difficulty in its transition to digitization, leading to lower levels of advertisement, readership, trust, and revenue. The class, on top of this, add insult to injury, the classroom or newsroom debate still continues. In many countries, it has ended. Journalism schools have already proven that their graduates contribute significantly to the media industry, but that is not the case with us. News organizations employ only 50% of their staff are from our graduates. In terms of research, our discipline has not contributed much output. Only of 2 of our colleagues have made it to the top 36 social scientists from the AD Scientific Index. What is needed is creating a research environment where networking plays an important part, said by Professor Shafiul Alambuya, Dhaka University. So in this light, let's learn from the one that's number one in terms of enrollment, the most popular, engineering discipline. They have a complete environment ecology with strong industry-academic linkage. It ensures quality in education through accreditation, and the standards are international. And as a result, the graduates they have find high-paying jobs. Okay, so I'll be ending my presentation here. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jude, for the eye-opener. And I believe this could be a point where we can start building our future, taking the session takeaways as the first few guiding principles. Moving on, I would like to invite my colleague, Dr. Abdul Kabil Khan, to come on stage and present the research findings on feedback from our students, what I wish my faculty would do and would not do. Before I leave the floor for Dr. Kabil, let me introduce him briefly. As I already told you that Dr. Kabil is my colleague at the Department of Media Studies and Journalism, University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. Also, he is my comrade in many things, like in organizing this event. He was in the organizing committee. And should I know that you are also Jamil? Okay, we call him actually as Jamil Bhai or Dr. Jamil. We do not use the name Kabil much. So, and he is mostly Mojo Jamil. So that's the point I was going to come to. This is my pleasure to tell the world that Dr. Jamil or Jamil Bhai is one of the go-to person in Mojo, mobile journalism in Bangladesh. He was listed among the top 40 mobile journalists by journalism.co.uk in this year, earlier this year. Dr. Jamil has been working as a trainer in Mojo for many years, now I think around 10 years, and he conducted I think close to 100 workshops and trainings for students and also professionals who are transitioning from the traditional mode of journalism to the digital mode. He was a specialist in Mojo at Pratham Alo, and also he taught at Dhaka University before coming to us. He taught as an adjunct. And what else to say? Yeah. About his education, he received a PhD in journalism from People's Friendship University, Russia, in Moscow. And of course, we have students. They will get some glimpse of Mojo from Dr. Jamil and also from Rajiv Nandi sir of Chittagong University tomorrow. So over to you, Dr. Jamil. It's my pleasure to share this stage with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barbara, for this wonderful introduction. And he already said too much about myself, so I'm a little bit feeling a bit nervous when someone speaks so many things about in front of me. Anyway, so let me share the presentation first, and I will be continuing where Dr. Jude stopped. So where some of the presentations will be very similar with Dr. Jude, and we both of us will talk about the employability of our graduates, which is the burning question in front of us. All right, so as a part of this networking conference, we did 2 surveys. One of the surveys we have done with the students, and students from all over the Bangladesh who have been working or studying in media, journalism, and communication department across the country. And we asked them, media and journalism education in Bangladesh, what I wish my teachers would do and would not do regarding my career perceptions and preparation. So basically, this study, the data that I'm going to reveal right now will present their perceptions among the courses, the programs, and among the teaching modules and methodologies the teachers have been using in their classroom. So this is all their perceptions, their thoughts and understanding, and I will present those throughout my presentation. Whenever we have been doing this research, we have gone through several literature, especially the career guidings, preparations, and career perceptions, future planning, the relationship between the universities, so many things. And the interesting facts that we have found that Richardson if I go further, so research and he explained that the most student feedback systems focus on evaluating particular course units in the context of modular programs of study. And in this sense, there has been little information about student experience in the entire program of the study. Actually, what usually we do, we just, usually after every semester, we do the evaluation on particular courses, but we never did that about the whole entire program, or the study, or the 4 years bachelor program. So that was completely missing, not only even the private university, and also the public university. So that what been underlined by the research. And this particular survey, where we asked students to rate both the importance of their expectation and their level of satisfaction regarding a particular aspect of higher education. Obviously, the higher education means media and journalism. And the overall scores are calculated and identify aspects of the student's experience, especially pinpointing which aspects an institution is failing to meet students' acceptation or their interest. In Bangladesh, actually, we know the University Grants Commission in 2016, they had advised all the Bangladeshi universities to include student satisfaction surveys in their self-assessment reports. And apart from that, the UGC also has, they provided a template for the student feedback. So what should be in the, in the survey forms, like, their, the parameters. So this is about the knowledge matter, the presentation, the management, the teaching learning assessment process, and the overall environment, and of course the professional behavior of the students or the faculties. Then if we talk about the career preparation, because most of this study will be about the career preparation and their future plan. So we have gone through also some literature about the career preparation. So this already been talked by Dr. Jude, that the higher education institutions have the responsibility to provide programs and activities that ensure the employability of the graduates. So the parents, why they should to university, their kids, because after their graduation, they should get a good job with a good salary, and that is the basic aim or goal of sending students to the university. And we also have found interesting, the framework for doing this study. This is about the CDC model, which had been coined by MC Daniels and Puyer in 1991. They have introduced the model CDC, which is about the career development centers. So most of the universities today, they have the career counseling officers, career counseling service offices, so where students can go and talk and share their problems, or they can find the aspiring jobs, or they can enroll in their internship programs. So this is something the new, where the university is already introduced a center. So this particular study will be followed, this CDC as a framework. And we have also have an interesting assumptions where Dr. Jude, he discussed earlier this year that many universities in the country have adopted a market-driven approach, where private universities, for example, followed the professional orientation of North American education to ensure that their students dominate the job market, particularly landing lucrative placements, salaries. And he also cited Kabir that the parents perceive market-oriented degrees as the key to economic survival, which also we have found in Dr. Jude's presentation. In the light of this discussion, the present studies sought student feedback regarding their career development initiatives of Bangladesh Media Studies and Journalism program, and we have set one objective for this study to gather the perception of communication, media, and journalism students in the country regarding their career and their preparations needed for their future careers. And the study framework that I already been shared, that we are going to follow the CDC model, which is about the Career Development Center, which also a combination of few parameters like the self-awareness, educational, occupational information, taking action, and life management. So however, we have been customized this the aspects with the needs or the requirements of this particular study. So let me share this matrix. So as I already shared the component, so we have 4 components, and we developed the questionnaires connecting these components. And if I talk about the self-awareness, which has 2 parameters like the career coaching and the career guidance. So we asked students questions which is connected with their career coaching and career guidance. And then moving to educational occupational information, where we have found 3 parameters like job benefits, job challenges, job application process. So what are the challenges students may face after finishing their graduation? So they already know that the job is not, there is not any surety that you will get a job, or the salary that you are getting is very cheaper. So those challenges are ahead towards the students, and they are very knowledgeable. So we will have the data later on. And the taking action, so is a combination with the parameters like career preparation or practice or career exposure. And finally, we have the life management component, which is about the career networking, career promotion, the pathways, and the future relationship with the university. So students have a good connection after finishing their studies. So they are the part of the alumni, and they have a good connection with the university. So they can come and join different events and network with the faculty. So very simple regarding the methodology. So this study followed a descriptive design, and it's a quantitative study. And we used Google Forms to disseminate the questions among the students all over the world, all over the country. And we used random simple sampling, and we sent also the links to our fellow colleagues and asked them, requested them to share the links with their students. And we got around 245 respondents, which is our sample size, which is not bad enough. And we designed the questions especially in 2 different ways. First, we asked few demographic questions, which are very common. And the second part of the survey questionnaire is mostly we had the Likert scale from 1 to 5, following the low 1 and the highest is 5. And then we used descriptive statistical methods. And myself and my colleagues, Dr. Barbak, who was closely connected with this analysis part and worked and passed few sleepless nights for that, having these studies. And we had the data, which is I'm going to present right now. So that is another framework or the matrix that usually we used for this study. So we used mean rating methods, and the scores are given in the left side. You can see from 1 to 180, which is mostly the negativity or dissatisfaction of the students. They are not happy with how the teachers are conducting classes or delivering the methods. So those are their dissatisfactory parts. And then 1.81 to 2.60 is something they are not agree with the statements. This is also a negativity of their interest. And 2.61 to 3.40, this is something they are a little bit agreed with the statements. And their answers are mostly the moderate. And then 3.41 to 4.20, they agreed with the statements that we have been shared with them in the surveys. So those are the positive responses, and they're satisfied with the statements. And finally, the most positive part, from 4.21 to 5, they are strongly agree, and this is extremely positive and good for us. Then if I started sharing the results, so this is the demographic scenario of our surveys. Out of 246, we have male and female, 245 respondents. We have male and female. Around 61% was male, and around 39% was female. So mostly male are dominated as a part of their demographic dividends. And then if I shared the first, the component, the self-awareness. So where the self-awareness, as I already mentioned, that this is a combination with the two parameters, the career coaching and the career guidance. And according to the findings of the respondents, they are both the elements of the both elements are mostly the moderate of their feedbacks, and respectively we have found the overall mean ratings 3.34 and 3.03. So the responses are mostly said that if I just read out their, what they said or their mark in their, in their responses. If I go to the next two, the parameters. Here you go. So the first parameters was on career guidance. So what they said. So the mostly we got the moderate responses from there, where we have the overall mean rating 3.34, which is quite satisfactory, I guess. And we asked them, my teacher, department or university has explained clearly about the careers in the field, and this mean rating got around 3.53, and which is also very much the positive responses. And then another question that we also asked them, that the aspect that we asked them, that referral to career counselors. So teacher might send them to their counselors, which got the lowest responses, and you can see the other findings here. So most of the the answers are quite moderate, so not that much good enough for us. Then the second parameter that we have here, particularly these self-responses, that is on career coaching. So what is the contribution of the teachers and the faculties in terms of their career coaching? So here also we have the overall mean rating 3.30, which is also moderate positive. And here we also have a question that my teacher, department, university has taught me how to write an application letter. So this particular statement got good responses, which is the positive responses, and the mean rating 3.34. And the lowest that we had on the statement, my teacher, department, or university has guided me about preparing for job written test. So usually we are not doing that much with our students, so that's why it's got a lower score. And that are the two parameters under this self awareness. And then we move to our next component, and that is about the feedback on educational occupational information. So according to our study framework, which is the CDC model, and under the CDC model that we have this particular component, educational occupational information, which deals with another three parameters. The first parameter, we have the job benefits, and the second parameter is the job challenges, and the third parameter is job application process. So if we combine all these three parameters, and the mean rating that we received is about 3.36, 3.56 and 3.14 respectively. Now let me share the three parameters separately. The first parameter is on job benefits. So what is the scenario here? So basically on job benefits, so respondents' overall feedback on job benefits, the mean rating, which is the 3.36 overall, is also moderately their aware about their job benefits. So what are they are getting in their job placement. So what is the salary they are expecting in their particular news stations, whatever that is, newspaper or television. So they know the salary of journalism is very lower. So they know it about, they are aware about that. So, and they also somehow, they know they expect from their profession, they are aspire or they are going to have it. And that's why the overall mean rating of different aspects under this, the element range between 3.28 and 3.40. So they are mostly aware about what benefits or salaries they are expecting after their graduation. So that they are the job benefits they have. And the next one is the job challenges. So what kind of challenges they might have or face when they will, turn to their professional life. So here is also the scenario, not that much positive, but they know very well. So that's the interesting findings that we have. If I say that they know what are the challenges they will face, so this is the most high rating you can find, that 3.58. So they are mindful about their commuting required. They are mindful about their office hours. They are mindful about their physical risks. Doing journalism in Bangladesh is not that much easy. One of the dangerous places we have for journalists in Bangladesh, and we are one of the lowest, ranking among the South Asian countries that recently released by the RSF. So we also already passed 10 rankings. So Bangladesh is quite a risky place for doing journalism. So they are very much mindful about their future challenges. So which is quite good enough that the students know that what challenges they will face after entering their job market. So this is very good ratings out of 5. So we have a high rating in this particular parameters. So then move to the job application process, which is the third parameter. So here we have found that the feedback on the role of their teachers and department or university in the job application process also was moderately positive, and the overall mean rating here is 3.14. So here also we have found that the contributions or the engagements of teachers and students in terms of processing or even applying for the grants or applying for the the internship process or getting a recommendation letter from the faculties. So here we have found some lackings or some kind of not that much good relationship getting this kind of supports from the faculties. That's why the skills are a little bit lower. So we need to work in this particular area. So we need to be more open-minded towards our students. We need to be available towards our students, so students can find us in the department and get the recommendation letter whenever they need it. Then if I move to the next component of our CDC framework, that is taking action. So under this framework, the respondents their perceptions on this career preparation, practice, and career exposure. So we have 2 parameters, and we have found that the feedback is also very much moderate, and the rating that we have here is 3.35 and 3.17 respectively, which is also quite lower, I guess. So under this components, we have 2 parameters that I mentioned. So first parameter is career preparation. So the career preparation, the overall rating shows the respondents are moderately satisfied with their career preparation, and the overall mean rating you can find in the screen 3.35, and the first highest or positive rating that we have received, it is about I am expecting to participate in research projects with my teachers. This is the highest rating that we received, and the lowest rating that we received that I am doing, I want to complete an internship in an organization. So that is another groundbreaking, I think, in our study, that the students are now most interested doing research than doing an internship in any organization. So most students are not that much interested as we assumed, but the data reveal that students are interested doing a research or working with their teachers in any particular research project. So we need to engage our students in the research project more and more rather than the internship projects. So that is quite a satisfactory part, I guess, in this particular the parameters. And the next parameters, we have the career exposure. So the respondents are also moderate satisfied, and the overall mean ratings that we got here 3.17, and the ratings also provided that the students are different aspects that we put under the statements here. 4 statements you can find here. So the most interesting aspects that we have found that mostly the students from the private universities, they are mostly engaged with the part-time jobs rather than the public universities. So that is the differentiate between doing a part-time job. So mostly students are doing the part-time jobs in the private universities, and the mean rating is 3.4. It is quite quite lower in the public universities. So that is the career exposure. And the last component that we have under the CDC framework, that is the feedback on life management. So feedback of life management basically is a combination with another 3 parameters. The first parameter is the career networking, and the second one is the career promotion and pathways, and the third one is the future relationship with the university. And if we combine all 3 together, their responses is also quite moderate positive, or we can say some extent to it is positive. So let me split these 3 parameters. The first parameter is the career networking. So the career networking, where students say they are moderate satisfied, their satisfaction came when they said that I have formed informal working groups with my classmates. So usually when we are giving some group assignments or doing some the course projects, so mostly they said yes, we are doing these particular projects in a groups. So that received particularly the highest rating, around 3.56, which is a positive responses indeed. And the lowest responses that we got, usually this is not too much applicable for the students as they don't have any business card, so which we also put as to know their interest, because most of the students are now engaging in different part-time jobs, so might be they have some business cards or identity, so which is got quite lower responses, which is around 2.41. Yeah, if we combine both public and private universities. So that is the career networking, and then move to the next parameters. That is the career promotion and pathways. So this particular the findings have shown us that the students are more knowledgeable about their career promotion and the pathways, so how they can go further in their career goals. So the mean rating that we received here, 3.4, and here is also the high mean rating. So students are much more aware, which is very good, that the students before coming to our universities, they know where I am going, who will teach us. They go to the website and they check the profiles. So is there any teachers who have the PhD degrees, or who are now most have a very prolific research, and who are teachers who are doing most emerging fields, or doing some some interesting the research projects. So they are very much knowledgeable today, whenever they are getting an admission, whatever the university is. So that's why the findings show that they are mostly they are now knowledgeable in their career promotion and the pathways. And then finally, the last one, that is the relationship between their university after finishing their graduations. And here we have found that the mean ranging that we have found here is quite high enough. From 3.56 to 3.94, almost 4, and it's a positive responses from their point of view. And if we combine all 4 our the indicators or the components, and you can see the overall mean rating, if we combine all 4 together, and the figure that we received is around 3.31, so which is quite satisfactory. And if we, based on this surveys, if we come up on the summary or conclusion or recommendation, so we can say that still there are some areas where we need to more focus, we need to develop, especially the self-awareness, where we talked about the career coaching and career guidance, which literally received very lower rating from the students. So we need to be focused more, particularly these areas. So what we can do here, especially if we want to do or develop these particular parts, so here are some of the things that we need to work hard, especially to do so. Universities or the departments, they can create some spaces for the students, where students and faculties, they can jointly work together in different projects. It can be research, it can be some startup projects, and give them more spaces working on hands-on, especially offering some apprenticeship programs or outreach programs. Particularly many universities, they are now opening different platforms on online where journalism students can, create their stories, and showcase to the world. Especially, I have known many universities among the public and private universities. They have created these spaces for the students. So that is wonderful. But we need more spaces for them. So that is one area where students can, enhance their skills while they are in the department. Because there is a debate already Dr. Jude mentioned, which is a classroom and newsroom. So if we create a space in the classroom which is almost similar to the newsroom, the students can create their products and showcase there. So that it would be some sort of the linkage with the industries. So this is one thing where we can do, develop our skills and give some more space to the students. And the other one, how students can prepare themselves for the job market, especially writing a CV or applying for a grants or working together with the faculties. So that is another area where we definitely need to focus, because that also receives a quite lower scales. And lastly, teachers should also come up forward to help students, and use their networks to find a good job or even send them for an internship. Because sometimes students also struggling to get a good job, because even we receive so many phone calls after finishing university after 1 or 2 years, they're still struggling to get a good job. So I think teachers can help in this particular area using their personal networks or professional networks to send them somewhere to get a good job. So that's in from my end. If you have any questions, I would love to have those discussed furthermore. And we'll upload this study in our CJEN website where you can read further this study. And then I think we'll communicate if you have any questions later on. So thank you for listening, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Dr. Jamil, for presenting the findings of feedback from our students, what I wish my faculty would do and would not do. So I would like to express our sincere gratitude from the research team to DW Academy, because they funded this research. And the research was, of course, led by Professor Jude Henilo, and in the team also were Dr. Jamil, Nandita, and I. And while going through the data, while doing the analysis and preparing the report, what we felt very strongly, especially I felt very strongly, that through this survey, what our students are trying to tell is that we are not cared enough. We are not mentored enough. Because if you look into the final indexes in all, it's only moderately satisfactory. And I was feeling that what kind of teacher is someone who does not give her or his student a reference letter? You saw the overall mean rating, that was 3.09. That should be 5, and if possible, over 5. In a scale of 5, of course. Because why wouldn't I give a reference letter to my student? What kind of teacher I am then? So, and I felt really, really bad. And I felt like the students are whispering, we are not cared enough. You see the ratings in the life management element, or the parameters. One of the parameters were there that the students, the graduates, know the alumni tracking system of the university, and that was the lowest rated aspect in that category. The students are very much willing to come to the university and to contribute to their alma mater in whatever way possible for them, but we do not care about them. They do not know whether we track them, whether we have any database where they can send their information. Okay. In most of the universities, we see alumni associations. Those are just run by the students. And there is no connection with the department. Okay. So I will just connect this to what Dr. Jude was presenting. Now, what kind of educators are we that we do not care our students enough? And there are, if we go to person to person, on individual basis, probably no one will say, oh, no, I'm not satisfied with my students. No one will say that I'm not satisfied with my teachers, with my university. If we ask directly, because they are too kind to us, they respect us, and they think that it will be very bad if we say some bad things. But then they whispered here. Okay, and considering our discipline, the number of total students, 245 was a very good number at sample. We targeted only 200. And of course, I would like to express again our sincere gratitude from the research team to all our colleagues in different universities who helped us reaching the students across the country. Okay, and that brings us to the end of our morning session of day 1 of 5th edition of CJEN Bangladesh Networking Conference. So we'll go for the lunch break now, and we'll resume our proceedings again at 3 p.m., of course, Dhaka Standard Time. And when we come back, we will come back with a roundtable discussion entitled The Future of Media Industry, New Approaches and Business Model. So till then, let's go for lunch and prayer break. Thank you.